Hey folks, and welcome back to the channel for yet another Project Zomboid. Before I get started with this one, I do just want to quickly apologise. I'm still feeling a little bit sick, not too bad now, but I was pretty bad the last few days, so if my voice sounds a little bit funny or different to usual, then that is why, but I'm okay, don't worry. So with this video, I'm going to be visiting a bunch of features and general things in Project Zomboid that you may not have known about, mostly because they're quite well hidden, or just not particularly shouted about by the game, especially for people that are new to the game. So if you do find some things in this video that you didn't know about, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel. I make a whole lot of videos on Project Zomboid and other zombie games recently, with more to come. I also stream on Twitch on weekends at midday, so stop in on twitch.tv/MrAtomicDuck if you want to catch some gameplay live or ask me some questions. So for the first one, I wanted to visit something that's been asked for a lot in my comment sections on almost every video I've done showing some gameplay. If you've ever seen someone play the game and they've had a green outline around zombies, no, it is not a mod. You can enable it in your display settings with no extra requirements shown on screen now. It'll be set by default to ranged weapons only, and all you need to do is change this to all weapons, and from there all the zombies you fight will have green outlines showing what you're going to hit with each attack. It can be a bit finicky and sometimes a bit deceptive, but overall it's a really positive change and can make combat a lot easier, at least in my experience. Next up we have hidden stashes. These are exactly what they sound like. Essentially you want to keep an eye out for wooden floorboards, especially being highlighted when you pass over them. This signals a hidden stash that is likely to contain survival supplies, weapons, and ammo. Quite often these have some really cool items in, other times they don't have anything at all, depending on your loot rarity settings, but keep an eye out and you might get lucky with a good find. It's also worth noting that many modded maps have gone above and beyond with this strategy, creating their very own hidden stashes in many forms, with loot hidden around the world, in shipping containers suspended from a crane, for example, which is on Raven Creek if you're wondering. Sometimes being curious pays off, so don't be afraid to search high and low. Alrighty, so on to the next one. When it comes to decorating your base, I find there's a few things that people aren't aware of. Firstly, relatively recently, we've been able to pick up and move items. What a lot of people forget is that this applies to decorative items as well, whether it be flags, paintings, you name it. With the introduction of 3D items as well, we can now place items on the ground. That's almost every item in the game, just by right-clicking on it in your inventory and selecting Place Item, adding to any avid designer's feng shui. And there's also lights. By dismantling items with the electrical skill, which requires a screwdriver to complete, you can actually gain colored lights, which can be used to replace regular lights in lamps to create a colored environment when the lamps are switched on. Nothing particularly groundbreaking for your gameplay, but it's a nice little decorative enhancement, and there's some really creative minds out there that I'm sure would use this. So this next one is also something that I've had a lot of questions about, and I think will be a game changer for many people. I've also recently done a video on this in a bit more detail, so I'll leave a link to that at the end screen for this video. Now what I'm about to talk about here is Debug Mode. I know a lot of people don't even realize this exists, but Debug Mode allows you to execute a whole range of commands, from changing weather, teleporting your character, granting yourself items, all sorts of stuff. For me personally, this allows me to set up some really cool little scenarios to play out and challenge myself in game when I'm getting a little bored. For example, I could start in a military base loaded up with ammo and weapons to see if I can shoot my way out on incredibly high zombie counts, or start in a hospital with nothing but a hospital gown to my name 6 months into the apocalypse. The possibilities are endless, and all you need to do to enable this mode is right click on Project Zomboid in your Steam library, head to Properties, and then under Launch Options type -debug. Your game will now launch with this enabled and allow you to interact with this menu from the little fly or bug icon that appears on the left hand side of your screen when you join into a game. Give it a try and get creative. Now I'm not sure if this will be a particularly groundbreaking one for a lot of people. I know I didn't know about a lot of these controls, but did you know that vehicles might have some controls that you may not be aware of? For example, you can use cruise control in cars to maintain your speed and allow you to simply change direction. This is located on the left hand side of the dashboard dashboard when sitting in a car. Just a neat little part that I know many might not be aware of, and I certainly wasn't. And another that will allow you to switch on the AC or heater depending on the outside temperature to help regulate your character's temperature. Nifty if your character is hot or cold after moving around for a while. Next up, we've got cosmetics. There's actually a few items in Project Zomboid that will allow you to customize your character's appearance. Scissors and razors will allow you to customize both the hair on your character's head and their facial hair, which can be nice when both of these have grown after some time out in the wilderness surviving. One lesser known thing though, you may not be aware that makeup and a mirror can be used to provide all sorts of cool face paintings to your character. There's a range of options and can be something that's fun to try once in a while. Speaking of cosmetics, were you aware that some weapon types will do damage to clothing and others will not? Most blunt weapons specifically will not deal damage to clothing items, whereas bladed weapons will do damage to the condition of said clothing. So with that in mind, if there was something that you were looking to get your hands on, like a leather jacket or bulletproof vest from the bodies of zombies, I'd recommend bringing along a blunt weapon like a baseball bat or a police nightstick to keep things in pristine condition ready for you to wear when you kill the zombie. That's it from me in this one, guys. Hopefully you found some things in this video you weren't aware of previously, and if there's something that you know that I haven't mentioned in this video, make sure to drop it into the comments so that you can share your knowledge with others. It's incredibly important for us to do so. Once again, a very special thank you to my patrons for their ongoing support. If you'd like to look into that yourself, you can find a link to my Patreon in the description of this video. Thanks again everyone, and I'll see you all in the next one.